Hey everybody, the other day I made a video on the engine room of Aurora and I forgot to show you the rest of it. So we actually have a separate generator room, kind of the electrical panel room, generator room on this boat as well. They're connected, the generator room and the engine room are connected, but they're accessible in different ways. So this will be a fun one. I'll show you this, and I love this part of the boat too. So we will go down through the galley. And if we turn around here, you'll see this is the floor, right, which is where the engine is underneath here. Goes back under the steps, so to speak, under the floor, and that's the back side of the generator where I was showing you the PTO and all that. But if we come back here into the kitchen, this opens up, and I'm going to make this a wider view so you can see better because it's small in there. And as we go in, we've got just storage. We do have a another master volt controller here, so we can see what's going on. I keep it off. I don't usually use that one, but if we were in here working on the generator or the electrical panel, we could see what's going on that panel. As we go in, we can step in. I did put the Sailrite sewing machine in here just as a a placeholder for a while. But as we come in here, this is a good sized room. I'm 5'10", and I can stand up with just my hair touching the ceiling. So it's a tall room, easy to get into, stand up and work in. Um, the generator, the heart of this room, we have a master volt. It's a 15 kVA generator. So it's based on a 4-cylinder Kubota. I think it's the V1505 Kubota engine that's connected to the master volt electronics and generator portion. And then we also have the PTO on the backside of this, which runs the hydraulics that I showed you. And I'll bend down here and see if you can see this, but I brought a light because I don't have the engine room opened up. But that's the back of the engine that I showed you. That's the hydraulic system, the tank over there. So this is literally just the back side of the engine room. So like I said, they are all connected. I'm gonna turn this back off. They are all connected, but you access them differently. So in here, aside from the generator, we have all the electrical panels. So the boat is a 230 volt boat. I'll show you what we have here. This is a 230 volt panel, 120 volt panel. And then we have this fun guy here that has the cover off because we're currently troubleshooting a electrical gremlin. This is they call it the master switch. Our entire system is master volt, all master volt electronics on here. And the master switch will we actually have power on this boat. We can hook up shore power to a connection on the bow of the boat or the stern of the boat. So if you pull in backwards or you pull in forward based on where the shore power is on the dock, we can connect to the bow of the boat. And on a 60-foot boat, there's a lot of times where you would want to do one or the other instead of having to have a 100-foot shore power cable. So anyway, those come in. This is live, so I'm not going to touch anything. We have two options: shore power from the front, shore power from the back, the generator input, and then the output to the panels. So this takes and switches stuff. It also monitors the current, the voltage. We have two Toyota transformers. I guess they're current transformers that are measuring the current. And that's one of the things we're struggling with right now is our panel is randomly showing that we'll have an overload of current when there's no systems on. So this is an old system. It's the date of the boat, 2004, so it's 22 years old while I'm making this, and it's got its issues. So anyway, we've been working through this. I had it off just because I had the panel off, and it makes a good time to show the video because it shows all the cool stuff in there. So that's our switching panel. We have some fun stuff that they've done in the boat is labeling. I've redone this since we added the dive compressor and a few things. As we go around, something you'll notice is all of these raceways are wire, is where they run the wiring. Some of them are missing the covers for one reason or another because they pop off and they were lost or not replaced. But they did a lot of them recessed back into the walls as well. So I don't know if there's insulation or if there's actually like a recess in here, but you'll see that there's literally recessed to the wall where all the wiring is flush in here underneath it. So it's kind of a nice, kind of a pain in the ass because you can't do a lot. You got to take all the covers off to run wires and do stuff, but it works. Anyway, as we move around, we have the controls for the Seawater Pro. That's our water maker. We have more controls down here for it. This just lets us make water and test it and then back flush it before we put it all into the system, into the tanks. We have this was I actually did a separate video. We just installed this. This is our Kallenberg. I don't know how to say their name, but I think it's Kallenberg. That's for our air horn. So this is we should be pumped up. We should have pressure, and we do. So we have a little tank that pressurizes, and that's for our air horn for the boat. We have a ventilation fan up here, which runs the vent for in here and for the engine room. We have our fire extinguisher system, fire suppression. Here, this is our Master Volt. They call it the Combi Master. It is our inverter charger. So it's a 24 volt system. Our boat is 24 volt system. 3,000 watt inverter that runs it converts our 24 volts DC to 120 volts AC. So if we're not connected to shore power, we want to watch TV, we want to run the microwave, or we want to plug in our phones, that kind of stuff, this provides us 3,000 watts of AC running off of the batteries. This also acts as a charger, so we can charge the batteries with this as well, which is nice, and it's a 70 amp charger. This is a separate 24 volt 100 amp charger, so this is a dedicated 24 volt 100 amp charger. It runs off 240. We don't use this on a regular basis. I just keep this one off. It works. It works. It functions. Everything's good, but we don't use that. I just use this one and the solar panels to keep the batteries charged, and that seems to work well. As we move around, we have more generator stuff. This is the anti-siphon valve for the generator, cooling reservoir tank, some spare belts, that kind of stuff. These are I'll get to this in a minute. These are actually the shift and throttle cables from the helm, coming down from the helm because we're underneath there. But the fun thing that is in here is this big black guy. This is the autopilot in our steering system. So a lot of sailboats will have cable-driven system, and they'll use what they call a quadrant, where they use it to turn the rudder, and they run the cables throughout the boat. This one uses a direct drive system, so it has all these gimbal fittings to make corners and to turn, and this literally goes. So again, as I was saying, the helm is directly above us. We're in this room, but the helm is directly above us, where we steer the boat, control everything. So it goes straight up through here. So this goes through the floor, and then this is the motor that runs the self-steering, runs the steering system. And you can see this thing is massive. I mean, this is a substantial motor. Our helm is. We've got a huge wheel for a lot of leverage. We've got a really big spade rudder. So this guy needs to be pretty substantial to control everything. But it's nice. We have this direct drive. This runs. It turns 90 degrees. It goes back underneath our bed in the aft cabin, and then back to the lazarette where the rudder and the steering system is. So that's a kind of cool system. It seems to work really well. There seems to be a little bit of play in it, but I think that's normal. I've got the helm wheel locked, so we can't turn it up there. So, you don't feel that when you're steering the boat or driving, but I don't think there's anything I can do about that, and I don't think it's a problem. I'm sure there's a spec for it, but I'd have to to find that. As we continue to move around, we have the pedestal connection box. So in here is all the wiring. It's like a connection box or a junction box, if you will, for all the wiring for the helm. So this, everything comes into here. There's some terminal strips in here that connect stuff together, and then it goes back up through this raceway up into the helm. So we've got a light in here. We've got another fan in here that we can turn on and run to pull air through here. But yeah, this is the generator room. You can tell it's a European boat because we also have a 230 volt outlet here, which is funny because this is the only place on the boat that we have a 230 volt outlet. So, but yeah, looking back, we've got out to the kitchen, and yeah, this is our generator room. So let me back out of it here without knocking stuff over. Get a view of it. And that sound shield comes off the generator, so we can access all around the generator. Yeah, she's pretty straightforward. We've not had any real issues with it other than the water pump impeller, change the oil, do some basic stuff. But that's going to be fun to dig into. The sound shield is nice. It really keeps it quiet, but it's dirty, and my OCD is like, oh my god, just wipe that off. But we have tried so hard to get these, what looks like an oil stain, off the fiberglass generator cover. Aside from, wet sanding it and polishing it, it's probably our only option. But I'm not. We got other bigger projects on the boat than to deal with that. So my OCD is going to have to suffer for a while. Anyway, thought you would like to see the generator room on Aurora. And there she is. So, Aurora out.